Well, Penn FC will make their second visit here to TD Place tonight as they look to take on Ottawa Fury FC in what is once again a pivotal playoff matchup. Gord Smith alongside myself, Tyler McDonald. Welcome to TD Place here in Ottawa, Ontario. And a cracker of a game, you can say, Gord. It's going to be very interesting to see which one of these teams come out on top.
It really will. And 3 huge points. I mean, every single game becomes a 6-pointer now for the Ottawa Fury between now and the end of the season.
Yeah, player to watch is going to be the
Did you know the Brick is 100% proudly Canadian? We employ over 5,000 Canadians, and nobody knows more about furnishing Canadian homes at the guaranteed lowest price than us. Saving you more. It's not just a slogan. Saving you more is our obsession.
Gabriel Pizza, proud supporter of local sports. Gabriel Pizza, home of the bigger, better pizza. 310-7777 or GabrielPizza.com.
What do you live for? Is it for your crew? For overcoming obstacles? Live for what you want. So what do you live for?
Hey, Impreza. What's new?
Well, I've got this available reverse automatic braking feature.
Oh.
When I reverse, I can automatically brake if I'm about to hit something.
All I do is beep.
Subaru
Beep.
Impreza.
Beep. Ouch.
Welcome back inside TD Place as we're set to get underway in this USL matchup between Ottawa Fury FC and Penn FC. Graham Ivory, Gordon Smith along with you here from the broadcast booth. Tyler McDonald joining us pitchside for tonight's match, and a massive 3 points again. We're going to say that pretty much from now until we get into the playoffs. 3 points on the line for Penn FC. This could well determine if they even have a hope to get into the postseason. For Ottawa Fury FC, they're trying to get out of that logjam, which is kind of, well, really now 6, 7, 8, 9, and it could be even down into 10 in the USL standings. So lots of parity in the Eastern Conference. Final 8 games of the regular season for Ottawa Fury FC gets underway tonight. A big one against Penn FC. Third time they've met this season. Ottawa claiming victory in both previous meetings. As we'll have a look now at our starting lineups, brought to you by Gabriel Pizza, Ottawa's bigger, better pizza, starting with the visiting Penn FC. And in goal, a name that, well, the viewing audience here in the nation's capital will be very familiar with in Romuald Payzer. He gets the start. Pedro Galvao, Ken Tribbett, the captain, Kyle Venter, another former Fury player, and Jake Bond across the back for Lucky Casana, Paulo Jr., Walter Ramirez, Richard Menjivar, and Miguel Jaime across the midfield. Aaron Dennis up top. A very dangerous attack that Lucky Casana leads the way for Penn FC, 9 goals on the season. For the home side, it's Maxime Crépeau getting the start in the Ottawa goal. 12 shutouts on the season as he chases a record against a former Fury player. We'll talk about the 2 starting keepers in a little bit. Ono Obasi, David Edgar, Nana Atakora, Eddie Edwards across the back 4, Jamar Dixon, Christian Portilla, and Kevin Oliveira in the midfield, Steven DeSantos, Adonijah Reed, and the captain Carl Howarth, the front 3 for Ottawa Fury FC. Gord, 2 shutouts away for Maxime Crépeau to tie the record of the man he is taking on tonight, and that's a club record of 14 shutouts in a season. And Romuald Pézère is the man who holds that record, and those are the 2 players to watch here tonight.
Most definitely, Graham. It's a case of Fury past and Fury present, isn't it? Romuald Pézère, obviously, 2015 NASL Golden Glove winner here with the Ottawa Fury. And, of course, he holds the Ottawa record, Fury, with those clean sheets, 15 set in 2015. But it's at the other end where obviously Crépeau is chasing him. He currently sits with 12, as you mentioned, Graham. And I think that whatever goalkeeper comes out on top here tonight, keeping their team in it, making big saves, I think that's going to be the difference maker here tonight, where the destination of all 3 points are going to end up.
Fury FC pressing Penn early in this one, and they've won possession here in the midfield. Jamar Dixon out to Eddie Edward, back inside his own half to Nana Atakora. The referees for tonight's match, Pierre-Luc Lausière is in the center, Daniel Below and Sean Hornsby, the 2 linesmen, and Matt Suari, the 4th official here tonight. The subs for Nikola Popovic's squad, David Monsalve, Jeremy Gagnon-Laparé, and Thomas Mayer-Giguère, who gets a rare night off, at least from the starting lineup. Only the now 2nd time since he got into the starting 11 back in May that we haven't seen him in Popovic's starting lineup. We'll get back to the subs in a moment as Lucky Casana takes an opportunity early but fires that one up and over the goal. Clément Baya, Chris Manella, Daniel Haber, and Azake Luboyera, the subs for Ottawa Fury FC.
That was a decent break there. A good counter-attack. It was lost in midfield by Obasi. A quick transition. Lucky Casana, I think he would have preferred to do a little bit better. Maybe even play his teammate on the other side.
The subs for the opposing Penn FC, backup goalkeeper Sean Lewis, Haruna Shaibu, Sal Barone, Salih Muhammad, Prince Bafo, Jorge Rivera, and Isaac Osei are the 7 subs available on the bench for Penn FC as we have a look at our 3 keys to an Ottawa victory. Gord?
Well, the first one obviously is home sweet home, Graham, right here. Penn FC have one of the worst road records in the USL, only 2 wins out of 15 games. 7 of the Fury's 10 wins have come right here at TD Place, and that good run must continue for the Fury to take all 3 points here tonight and stay in the playoff hunt. Key number 2, hit me with your best shot, a famous song by Pat Benatar, but here it is tonight. The Fury have averaged 7 shots at goal this season. However, they only average 3 shots on target. They need to work the goalkeeper a lot more here tonight, Graham. Force Pézère to be the busier of the 2 keepers tonight. And the 3rd key to the game, pressure and punish. Penn FC have not had a clean sheet since May 26th, a run of 13 straight games. The Fury need to pressure Penn high up the park and not allow their back 4 any time on the ball. When mistakes lead to turnovers in the midfield, or punish them with quick counter-attacking play that will lead to quality chances against the aforementioned Romuald Pézère. So there are our 3 keys to the game here tonight for the Ottawa Fury.
Well, and Ottawa has done, I think, a good job in games this year when they score. They're 3 draws, 9 losses when they don't score a goal. So 10 wins, 2 draws, 2 losses when they do score. So yeah, that's
pretty good indication of where things are going to go here tonight. And if you get an early goal and you sort of take Penn out of the rhythm, obviously they're sitting, get through these first 15 minutes here tonight, Graham, not giving anything up.
Long ball over the top. Adonijah Reed first on it for Ottawa Fury FC. For our viewing audience on the stream, you'll note that Ottawa have the rainbow colors on their jersey tonight. This is their annual Pride game, as it's Pride Week here in the nation's capital. And Adonijah Reed has won Ottawa Fury FC their first corner of the match. The captain, Carl Haworth, set to take this first one.
And once again, we see that ploy of the Ottawa Fury packing that front post area, Graham, and it's going to be whipped in to that front area. The referee's just having a chat with a few players, just make sure no barging, no pushing. Because the minute that ball gets played in and anybody's getting a hand on someone else, Graham, that whistle's going to blow, certainly if it's against the Fury.
Howard's delivery into the near post. That one headed away. Falls to Kevin Oliveira, quickly back to Howard. Takes a touch, tries to cut inside. Finds a wall, a handball for sure. And now a set piece coming for Ottawa. Lucky Cassana quickly gets in front of Kevin Oliveira before they could take something quick here.
I think it was a double handball. It was the left, it was the right. Eventually the referee, if he was going to let the first one go as incidental, the second one he had to, because the ball completely stopped when the right arm made contact with it. So another good opportunity for the Fury off a set play here very, very early, just outside 5 minutes.
That's Aaron Dennis, striker for Penn FC, gets called for the handball. Kevin Oliveira will take the set piece for Ottawa. 5 red shirts in the penalty area for Ottawa.
Well, that's Akora and Edgar obviously coming up from the back, Graham, and they're going to be the target men inside that 18-yard box.
Delivered into the back post. Contact made. And that one will go out for a goal kick.
I think that was
David Edgar.
Yes. A terrific ball whipped in. I think if anything, Graham, it was just a little bit too high for Edgar. He had to almost come behind him to try and make sure he got his head on the ball, and unfortunately wasn't able to get enough of it. Pezer, I think, came in and took his defender out as well, big number 4. So early wars here, 6 minutes in.
Well, the captain, Ken Tribbett, second on this team in scoring. He has 5, including 1 against Fury FC when these two sides met here at TD Place. Ottawa did come back to claim a 2-1 win over Penn FC on that day, despite Tribbett scoring early. Ottawa did come back to claim victory in that one, and it was Tony Taylor, if I'm not mistaken, who scored the match winner on that day. Ottawa without the services of Tony Taylor, who serves a 1-match suspension for yellow card accumulation, picking up one Wednesday night in that 2-0 loss in Bethlehem.
Yeah, a tough road trip it was. You know, like you go to these places, Graham, where teams are fighting it out for playoff spots, and you've really got to make sure you're well organised, you're well disciplined. And unfortunately giving up a penalty kick that just sort of made things extremely difficult for you wasn't what was in the game plan, obviously. And I think tonight you just got to make sure that, as we mentioned, you just continue with that high press. You try and put this back 4 under pressure. They do make a fair amount of mistakes, Graham, over the course of a game. And if it's a situation where you get that one real quality chance that falls to Reed, De Santos, Haworth, maybe even Oliveira coming in late to the box, that could be the difference here tonight.
Steven De Santos fouled by Pedro Galvo. Another set piece coming here for Fury FC. You think back to Wednesday night, you know, David Edgar just had that opportunity there on the set piece, and also had a good one on delivery in the second half from Christian Portilla. It was he and Mayer Giguère who had the best 2 chances, perhaps the only 2 chances for Ottawa in that second half. Mayer Giguère had his opportunity cleared off the goal line. Delivered in. That one headed away. Didn't really get past the interior of the penalty area. Now Lucky Cassana tries to get going, but possession won back by Ottawa. Adonijah Reed curls this one into the back post. Pezer goes up, falls loose. That one cleared away well over the outreach arms of Romuald Pezer, who's kind of caught out of position. Steven De Santos calling for a foul as he went up for it. And
terrific play by Adonijah Reed down this left-hand side. It looked as if his touch was heavy, Graham. Was going to take the ball over the end line, but he put his foot around the ball, swung a really nice ball to the back post. Pezer, as you said, I think you're caught underneath it a little bit. Didn't make the proper contact when it was knocked back into the 6-yard box. Nobody there in the red shirt, Graham, but a nice bright start here inside 9 minutes for the Ottawa Fury. 2 or 3 good set plays. Offside. 2 or 3 decent set plays, and then that opportunity there from open play. Adonijah Reid looking lively down this left-hand side.
Select is the official soccer ball of the USL. For the latest Select products and special offers, please visit www.selectsportamerica.com and receive free shipping on orders over $50. 10th minute at TD Place, 0-0. Always a fun game when it's under the lights. Perfect weather here, and that's kind of been a conversation piece, I think, throughout the course of July and the better part of August with Nikola Popovic with some of these 2 p.m. kickoffs. So it's a gorgeous night here. Don't think we're going to have very nice weather tomorrow.
No.
But looks as like the rain will hold off until sometime overnight as Eddie Edward gets going down that right side. Can he get a touch to keep it in play? Unable to do so before reaching the goal line, out for a goal kick.
Well, there's an example there, Graham, of the mistakes that we talked about in the defensive third. That was an easy ball to get cleared away, and I didn't quite see who the defender was, but completely let it bypass him all the way to Eddie Edward. And unfortunately for Eddie, just couldn't get his foot around the ball to get it into the box. But that's the type of play we'd like to see. Eddie Edward on the right, Obasi on the left, get in to support the midfield three that are narrow in the middle. And if they can get to the byline, give some support to Haworth and Adonijah Reid in the corners.
Well, of course, last Saturday we not only saw some roster changes, but a formation change in that 0-0 draw with Indy 11. Eddie Edward, one of those roster changes, he got the day off. He also got the first half off Wednesday night against Bethlehem. Came on at halftime, and you know he was one of the difference makers, I thought, in that game. But when you look at, you know, those tired legs of Eddie Edward and how many minutes he had played, and then I think got a well-deserved rest last Saturday against Indy, and now when you look at it, well, in the last 10 days he's really just played that 45 minutes of soccer, or almost 2 weeks I should say. So some good rest, a well-deserved rest for Eddie Edward.
And I think that's something we've talked about, you know, along with AJ as well in previous broadcasts, Graham, is that some of these lads were just being asked to go to the well once too often, and to get that break, that even if it's just a half. We saw Kevin Oliveira last week had to come on at half-time when Tony Taylor went off. So it's a situation where I think Oliveira was probably going to get most, if not all, of the game off as well. He had to come on at half-time, so he wasn't able to get that full, you know, almost 10 days rest before they went down to Bethlehem and played down there.
Aaron Dennis trying to get something going down the left side as he and Eddie Edward have quite the battle going. Dennis wins possession. Dennis into the penalty area, tries to cut inside. Good work by Jamar Dixon to come back and assist, but has won Penn FC a corner here.
Yeah, Dennis, a big lad, over 6 feet. He's one of these kids, one of these lads that will just ragdoll you if you allow him an opportunity, Graham. You've got to make sure you keep him in front of you. Don't let him get side by side of you, because he'll just barge you off the ball, just like he did there into the box. Corner kick though for Penn FC.
Immediately cleared away. And for good measure, knocked up into row 35 by Christian Portilla.
Yeah, Portilla's had a decent season as well for the Ottawa Fury, hasn't he, Graham? I think in a lot of games he's really controlled that flow, the tempo from central midfield, and allowed Dixon and Oliveira to make those important runs ahead of him. But you know, when you're two stoppers like tonight, Edgar and Atakora, when you know you've got a player the experience of Portilla playing in front of you, it makes your job so much easier. Yeah, you know, I think the referee's quite right there. There was no, the lad that was offside was not active in the play. The ball never ever got there. So I think the referee's quite right to give a corner kick. The lad certainly was in an offside position, but you know, we can see him, you know, it's a nice left-footed ball whipped to the back post area, and there he is, he's offside, but he continues his run out. I think he realises, we don't get to see it, that he is offside, and I'm pretty sure, I don't know if Carl got a yellow card there or not, Graham.
No Carl from Pierre-Luc Lausier, but certainly had a long conversation with the Fury captain. Second corner now for Penn FC. Takes a deflection, falls loose. Oh, what a wasted opportunity.
Oh dear, Paulo
As Penn
Jr.
FC, the former Fury player, and Paulo Jr. left wide open at the top of the six, and he couldn't finish it, missing wide at the back post.
Well, Crepeau decides to check back away from the ball, Edgar misses it. Obasi can only knock it down into the path of Paolo Jr. And my goodness, he's got to bury that. If you're a team that's struggling, you know, 11, 12 spot in the standings, Graham, and you're 7 or 8 points behind the playoff spot, that's the type of chance that you've got to take. And certainly Paolo Jr. spurned one there for Penn FC. Has to be a few questions asked of the Fury defending though off that set play, Graham. It was missed at the front post, missed by Edgar, missed by the goalkeeper, and then it was missed by Obasi, who hit it altogether. Paolo Jr. really needs to put that away.
Ottawa Obasi in possession for the Fury. Reverses it back for David Edgar. 15th minute here at TD Place, remains 0-0 between Ottawa Fury FC and Penn FC on a night where we will also be doing a decent amount of out-of-town scoreboard watching. Currently Atlanta United and Indy 11 knotted at 0-0. Charleston Battery, New York Red Bull are 0-0 through 14 minutes there. North Carolina FC and the Charlotte Independents taking on one another. 10th and 11th they are respectively, but 3 points tonight for North Carolina FC can certainly bring them back into the playoff conversation. No foul called there. And now Steven DeSantos gets a foul called against him and draws some attention after Kevin Oliveira was brought down.
No, don't be silly, just walk away. The referee's already given the free kick. Just walk away. There's no point getting into any afters with anyone, never mind the referee now that you're going to have to get talking to. But I think the Fury felt a bit aggrieved there that Oliveira wasn't given a free kick in a good position wide on the left-hand side there, Graham, and play came up the park. DeSantos just decided to take matters into his own hand. A shoulder charge that unfortunately the referee deemed as being a little bit illegal, and unfortunately for him, a free kick was given to Penn FC. But yeah, you talked about the out-of-town scoreboard, Graham, and we were saying every single match between any playoff teams or teams in the playoff hunt, they're all 6-pointers, aren't they? I mean, you can't afford to be, you know, falling 3 further points behind a team that's ahead of you, and you certainly don't want to let a team that's behind you come up 3 points on you as well. So all sorts to play for, Graham, inside these final 7 or 8 weeks in the USL.
Penn FC back looking for more deep inside the Ottawa half. This one curled in, headed away by Christian Portilla. Steven DeSantos first to it for Ottawa. Can he keep it in play down that right side? Cuts it back to himself. Back into the middle. Penn FC have one possession back here inside the Ottawa half. They reverse it back inside their own. And with that, we'll head down pitch side and hear from Tyler McDonald. Your ears bleeding down there, Tyler?
Well, it's definitely getting a little bit hectic down here, Graham. Both teams a little frustrated right now with what's going on in the officiating, especially Fury FC with a couple of sequences they've had. But in terms of both teams have been very, very positive in terms of making sure that everyone is okay, as Fury FC look to have a little bit of a go here. Both teams very encouraging, especially Nikola Popovic, wanting his team to keep going. In terms of the Penn FC side, Raul Voss instructing his team, slow down, calm down, stay steady with the pace in the midfield, and make sure you don't get too up over your heads. But we saw Fury FC get in trouble last game against Bethlehem when they were arguing with the officials. Have to make sure tonight to keep that frustration level down a little bit and to keep their heads. Back to you guys.
Thanks very much, Tyler. And yeah, certainly, and I think all the matches going forward, there's going to be that intensity because, you know, the opposition, there's so much on the lines for both teams. Carl Howarth brought down as the two captains collided. Ken Tribbett taking him out. So a free kick coming now on the lip of the 18-yard box to the left of Romuald Pezer.
Well, I honestly don't think, Graham, the referee was going to call that. It was the assistant referee on the far side. It was an excellent call. The foot did come across Carl, and a glorious opportunity once again for the Fury to put Pezer under pressure.
Well, that dangerous left foot of Christian Portilla set to take for Ottawa. In at the near post, palmed away by Romuald Pezer. That one had some venom on it from Christian Portilla. Well done by Romuald Pezer at his near post. Adakora first under that one for Ottawa, easily into the waiting arms of Pezer.
Well, his body shape on that free kick, Graham said, I'm hitting this straight at the goalkeeper. There was no intent at all to play the ball into the box. A terrific left-footed strike around the wall, and a good stop by Pezer. We know as a goalkeeper, Pezer likes to punch the ball out as opposed to try and grab it. I think that ball was coming at such pace, as you said, with the venom on it.
Didn't have much choice.
He didn't have much choice. It was just a case like get it cleared out of the 18-yard box. But again, a decent attempt on goal by the Ottawa Fury. We talked about making sure they get the shots on goal, not just at goal. That was a terrific strike there by Portilla.
Ken Tribbett in possession. As Penn try to find a seam through that midfield. That one intercepted. Right back into the middle. Carl Howarth can't win that header against former teammate Kyle Venter. Bossi's effort off the outside of his leg and into touch for a Penn throw.
But that was a terrific example of what we talked about with the pressure, Graham, in central midfield. It's a turnover by Penn FC right away. The Fury tried to go the other way on the counter-attack, but that's what we've got to see. Portilla stepping up 10, 15, 20 yards to fill that gap. Penn FC, one of the few teams these days that's still playing a 4-4-2 formation. And if you're able to get your three in central midfield outworking their two, oh my goodness. Portilla not happy about that at all. Jake Bond coming in fairly late, and I think the referee is going to go to his book for the first yellow card of the evening.
And at this point in time, you know, in other parts of the game, you may not see that as a yellow card, but with the way that this game has been going, you certainly had to think that at some point,
I think
lucky.
He got very lucky, because if Portilla's foot's planted and he gets any of that foot, Graham, the studs were showing. The referee obviously had a decision to make, went with the yellow card, but hopefully that just settled things down now. He's pulled the yellow card out. He's had a chat with a few lads. He's just letting them know that, listen, you know, you've got to try and maintain your head here tonight. You can't be getting a little bit overheated, and fortunately for the Ottawa Fury, it's those in a white shirt right now that are struggling.
Adonijah Reid cuts into the middle, gives way to Howarth. Adonijah Reid still trying to get it here for Ottawa. Falls to Jamar Dixon. Now Eddie Edward. That one out of his reach. Dixon wins it back for Ottawa. Edward there to support. Dixon still going. He's pulled down from behind. Official waves it off. And now an opportunity for Lucky Cassana down the left side.
I tell you right now, these two benches are absolutely beside themselves, Graham, at some of these non-calls. I mean, Dixon does get caught a little bit there. You see the hand on the neck. I mean, my goodness. I mean, that really should have been called. And I think the referee actually had a fairly decent view of that, Graham. And unfortunately for the Fury, it wasn't called. And as these type of things progress, Graham, and as the game goes on, and you feel that calls are going against you for both teams. I mean, there's obviously going to be situations where Penn FC are going to feel a little bit disappointed they're not getting the calls either. But every single 50-50 call, every single ball, the Ottawa Fury bench is absolutely beside themselves, wanting the referee to make a decision.
Well, for as much as we've talked about some inconsistency in performance from Ottawa at times this year, the officiating.
Well, yeah, sometimes.
My goodness, we've had some good games and we've had some horrible games, and unfortunately there hasn't been a ton kind of in the middle.
Listen, you know, the 0-0 game we had against Indy 11, it was an end-to-end game. But the reason it was an end-to-end game is because you hardly heard anything from the referee. The referee let the game flow. You let the two teams play football. We had shots off the crossbar, shots off the post, great saves by the goalkeeper, missed penalty kick. I mean, as long as you get all the big decisions correct, and the 50-50 ones you're getting right most of the time, that's all you're asking for a referee.
Outside of the scoreline, and as 0-0 games go, that was a very entertaining one. But that was one of the best games I think we've had on broadcast this year. As a foul called here.
It was handball against David Edgar. He's sort of similar to the one earlier on here in the first half down the other end for Penn FC. Edgar sort of fell and his hand reached out and took the ball, and Popovich, as we see, is not happy about it. But I think when he sees it was a fairly clear handball, unfortunately.
How often do we call a game where you're in the 24th minute now and it's already kind of reached its fever pitch?
It certainly has. Charleston Battery with a goal over New York Red Bulls. They lead 1-0, Graham, in the out-of-town scoreboard. That's a massive game in the standings for those two teams, as well as the Ottawa Fury.
Richard Menjivar behind this one for Penn FC. That one taken and sent up and over the crossbar. It was Walter Ramirez who opted to take it. Had the line right, but too close down the middle and punted that one up and over the bar. Would be, need to get closer to your corners if you're going to trouble Maxime Crépeau, who's One of the top goalkeepers in the USL this season.
He certainly has been, isn't he, Graham? Well,
and here's a question for you,
yes,
Gord,
yes.
because
Is that a trivia question, or is it just a yes or no answer?
not a trivia question, but you look at the performance you've seen from Maxime Crépeau, and you look at what's to come in the fall for our men's national team program. There's a camp that's going to be starting in early September, and then we don't know if he'll be called into it or not, but given his performance, at the very least, you think John Herdman would have him into a camp, get a good look at this guy. If he makes a team, then you're talking about representing Canada in the CONCACAF competition that will kick off in October in the CONCACAF Nations League, and then does that get into post-season time?
Yeah.
And are you at risk of arguably being without your MVP if it goes to that?
Well, I've been saying all season, I think Crépeau is one of the best goalkeepers, not only in the USL, but here in North America. I think some of the games over the course of the season, he's stolen points for the Ottawa Fury. If you look over the course of the season, I'd say anywhere from 8 to 10 points he's been worth to the Ottawa Fury here so far in 2018.
Penn FC continue to pressure. That one headed away by Adakora. Penn still in possession. Miguel Jaime was down on the turf there for a moment. Howarth pressures for Ottawa. This one delivered in again, headed away by Adakora. Penn with the first touch. Adakora up in the air again against Kasana this time. Adakora again. Offside flag is up.
Well, we've looked over the course of the season, Graham, and certainly with the shutout streak, or the shutout total that Crépeau has put up, you've also got to credit the lads in front of him. Certainly the two stoppers we've had for most of the season, it's been Atakora, Crépeau. You've now got Edler coming in for, Atakora and Meyer Giguère. Meyer Giguère, as you'd mentioned, getting a rest here tonight. And you've got two quite clearly veteran defenders, veteran stoppers in there, Graham, that have played at a very high and decent level. So I think heading into the back end of the season, is that the starting two preferred stoppers for Nikola Popovic? We can only see as the season does progress, but you've got a massive amount of international experience between those two lads involved tonight as your two central defenders, and it is going to be very difficult for Dennis and Kasana to try and get anything out of this Ottawa back four here tonight.
Kyle Venter in possession. Aaron Dennis, who's drawn well back into the midfield. Venter again in possession to the captain, Ken Tribbett. 27th minute here at TD Place. We remain scoreless between Ottawa and Penn FC.
Well, there's goals elsewhere, Graham. It's North Carolina 1, Charlotte 1, goals scored within minutes of each other. So, as you said off the top of the show, 10v11. Another huge game here tonight in the USL Eastern Conference.
Penn again attacking with numbers. There's a shot deflected off the leg of Eddie Edward. Comes out the far side. Adonijah Reed just knocks that one into touch near the Fury bench.
And I think if you're Penn FC, you look at it, you say that we have to go for this here tonight. There's not coming here and just taking a point back home is totally worthless to us. You've got to pick up the 3 points. I mean, Ottawa may be able to survive if they only get a point themselves, simply because they're a lot closer to the pack, Graham. But when you have a situation like Penn FC coming in here, and the playoff spot right now is 35 points, they are 9 behind with 26. For me, anything less than 3 points is a disastrous road trip for them. And I think that's why you're seeing possibly a situation where Bond down the right-hand side is pushing up a little bit more into the middle to help support. You get the two lads up front as well. Paulo Junior's looked lively here inside these first 29 minutes. Penn has to get a result. A 3 points is the result that they're coming here for. A draw would really do them absolutely no good. I know they've got a few games in hand, Graham. They've only played 23. Most of the league has played 25, but you've got to start picking up wins, and when you have your form that you've had over the last little while with 4 losses and a draw, Graham, that's just not good enough for any team that's hoping to get into the playoffs.
Great work by Adonijah Reed to keep it in on the touchline. Reed cuts into the middle, goes down to the turf. Pierre Lozier waves that one off. And now Penn with the opportunity to counter down the left side. Again headed away by Nana Adakora. Kevin Oliveira first to it for Fury FC. Now Portilla outlets to DeSantos. Great turn on Tribbett. Howarth on the right side. Howarth, can he get by Galvao? Howarth to the goal line, cuts it back. And Tribbett was there to knock it out of harm's way.
Good penetrating run there by Howard, but it all stemmed from the terrific work by a big striker in the middle, DeSantos. He lovely turn there, and he broke into the opposing half, and Graham spread a lovely ball out to Carl Howarth in his stride, taking it down the right-hand side, but terrific work by DeSantos. There we see the free kick that the Fury bench was raging for. I think Aden Ajari, he may have gotten clipped with the right foot there by the number 14 as he went down, Richard Menjivar, but referee just decided to let things go.
DeSantos flicks that one on, headed away by Jake Bond before Reed could get to it. Adakora plays it for Portilla. Sprays it to the left side for Obasi, chests it down. Obasi 1v1 with Venter. Back to Oliveira, now to Portilla. Edgar. Adakora. As they look to switch directions to the other side. Jamar Dixon. DeSantos, great ball now for Eddie Edward. Edward tries to get to the goal line. Galvao gets a touch to it and knocks that one out for Ottawa's second corner of the match. And Christian Portilla will head over to the corner flag.
Yeah, I think Eddie was caught in two minds there, Graham, whether he was going to cut back inside the defender or if he was going to drive the ball across the face of goal, and in the end it went off the defender for a corner kick. But I think it's been a good performance here by the Ottawa Fury, certainly inside these first 31 minutes, and you know, does the play deserve a goal? Fingers crossed it does lead to something off this set play.
Portilla delivers this one in. Up for the header was both Adakora and Edgar, but a foul called at the top of the 6-yard box, and Penn FC will reset.
A decent ball, Graham. He took the goalkeeper completely out of it. I think in the end there, a bunch of big lads just going up for the ball. The referee obviously decided that Edgar possibly had used an arm to climb above the Penn FC defender, and the free kick went against the Fury. Charleston 2, New York Red Bulls 0, Graham. That game is being looming as a big one with regards to how third and fourth and maybe even second is going to look once the evening finishes here tonight. Charleston certainly with the foot on the throttle here so far tonight.
Well, a win for Charleston will put them second, moving them beyond Louisville and the Pittsburgh Riverhounds.
And I think with a win tonight, it's fairly safe to say, Graham, that they look like being your top 4 seeds, your 4 home seeds heading into the playoffs, and it's that battle from 5 through to 10 and possibly 11 that now becomes the focus of the remainder of the USL season, with most teams still having about 7 or 8 games left to go.
Well, a win tonight in Atlanta would put Indy 11 into 5th spot, as they would leapfrog Bethlehem. They'd be on 42 points, and they'd only be, well, true, potentially 2 back on Louisville, depending on how their match tonight goes against the Richmond Kickers in Richmond. So there's still an opportunity to find your way into that top 4, at least 2v3, 2 to 4, I should say, because let's be honest, going to be hard pressed for anyone to catch Cincinnati at this point in time.
Yeah, it certainly will.
Carl Howarth lurking for a loose ball, finds it and hits it on the volley.
Well, we got an injury down. I don't know if that's DeSantos. Looks like he's taking a knock. Saying he got elbowed in the mouth or something, or kicked in the mouth or whatever. I thought Carl could maybe have just shown a little bit more composure there, Graham. He didn't have an awful lot of support. Obviously, DeSantos was 25 yards behind him. Not an awful lot of options in the box. They decided just to have a shot, a little bit rash, high and up over the crossbar, but there we see DeSantos. Well, yeah, it was the foot, I think, coming up from Tibbett, sorry, that caught him on the way down. No intention at all there by the big stopper for Penn FC.
And as Romuald Pézère sets to kick things back off, we'll head back down to the touchline and hear from Tyler McDonald. Tyler?
Thank you very much, Graham. And I would think a lozenge company should be down here to sell their packages after the game, because both these benches are getting irate after every single call. It's intensity is very high down here at pitch level. In terms of Ottawa Fury FC, Coach Nikola Popovic very happy so far with the interceptions that Fury are making in the midfield. Just feels that the next ball after the interception isn't there yet for Fury FC. For Penn FC, they're really looking to work better on the crossfield attempts from Ottawa Fury, not covering that the way that they want, and really most of that's coming toward Obasi and Venter. That's a battle to watch out for the rest of the game. Along with keeping close and marking, they want to have their players, their defenders, a little closer in terms of when they're marking their offensive players for Ottawa Fury FC inside of the 18 box. So look for that adjustment going towards the end of the first half. Back to you guys.
Thanks very much, Tyler. Can't wait for that halftime interview with Coach Popovic.
Somebody's got the delay button ready to go.
they're often spirited and could well be at halftime here today.
It's interesting, Graham, watching Penn FC. It looks like they've gone to a back three now. You've got Venter that's come out here to the right-hand side, and I think it's number 14 in the middle. Richard Menjivar is just dropping in, almost in that same role Portia's playing. So it looks like it's 3 in the middle, possibly 5 in central midfield, and 2 up front. So very interesting change here. Bond obviously is dropping down when Adonijah Reid is making a break down the left. But it certainly looks like it's possibly a flat back 3, Graham. Very interesting to see if that continues in the second half.
Our challenge on the captain, Carl Haworth, in the midfield. Draws a foul, and more commentary from the bench. Good win down there on the goal line by Steven DeSantos has won Ottawa now their 3rd corner of the half, and once again Christian Portilla will move over to take this one for Ottawa. Steven DeSantos with some fantastic work.
Well, at some point, Graham, this pressure that they're applying in central midfield and in the attacking third has to pay off, whether it's off a set play, whether it's some open play. You've got to put the ball in the back of the net if you can before the half. Just really force Penn FC to come more out to you and open up gaps on the flanks.
Portilla's delivery into the near post. Does go off the outside netting, but play was blown dead before he was to take it. Carl Haworth and Miguel Jaime being spoken to by Pierre-Luc Lausier. Portilla resets. This time delivers it into the back post, punched away by Pézère. Oliveira unable to get to the rebound, is cleared back out to the midfield. Jamar Dixon just skies that one. Not under it yet. Steven DeSantos moves in for Ottawa, takes it down off the chest, now flicks it on to Portilla. Portilla whips that one back over, tried to go cross field to Adonijah Reid. Good work by Jake Bond to have a beat on that. Eddie Edward almost got a boot to the face if he actually didn't. Play carries on. Kyle Venter, the former Fury defender, now in possession. Outlets to Jake Bond to his right. Played through the middle for Kasana. Good first touch to get beyond Obasi. Kasana down the right side, tries to play it in. Knocked away by David Edgar. Really no one in white there for Kasana to find, but nonetheless wins them their 3rd corner of the match.
Oh, it's a terrific little piece of skill there. They would see the boot up there on Eddie Edward. I mean, it was close. The fact the foot was up, Graham, the referee did have a choice to let it go or to give it a call, but a lovely piece of skill by Kasana as he broke into the edge of the 18-yard box, played the ball in there. As you'd mentioned, no one there, cleared away by David Edgar, but danger again for the Ottawa Fury. Big lads for the Penn FC in the box.
Menjivar to take. There's the header by Tribbett to the back post. And Crepeau collides with his man. That one will go out. I think he's called
against Tribbett.
I think he's called a foul.
Yeah. Oh, Venter got called again. I think Venter's
Tribbett
actually
got
thinking
the first touch.
I think Venter actually thinks the goalkeeper took him out there, because as right there, I mean the play's still alive. And Crepeau just, he does seem to, just 2 of them coming together, Graham. I don't think there was anything there at all, and the referee's now going to have a word with someone. Looks like it's Venter there. And just tell him, look, I'm the one with the whistle. Just keep it quiet. Let things take its course. But, the frustration certainly starting to mount for for Penn FC here, Graham, and it's going to be really
for
interesting.
both sides.
Yeah.
Like I can't recall a first half this intense. Certainly in the back half of second halves we've seen this season, but not this early in a game. We're still 5 minutes from halftime. Great work down the right side by DeSantos.
Yeah, he's had a really strong first half, Graham, hasn't he? He's led that line well. He's been trying to get a little bit of support from Oliveira, just tucking in behind him.
The USL's official Twitter feed keeps you up to date with news, live game updates, highlights from around the league 24/7. Follow at USL on Twitter.
Well, it doesn't look like it's going to make any difference, Jake, Graham, what Charleston Battery do in their game tonight. Louisville away to Richmond Kickers have a 2-0 lead.
2 goals, 4 minutes apart.
There we are. So they look like they will themselves vault up into second place over Pittsburgh Riverhounds, but it'll also mean Charleston will vault above Pittsburgh as well into third. So the top 4 getting very, very tight, as well as the second 4 to make that playoff push.
Well, in addition to watching the result of North Carolina and Charlotte tonight, the other one kicks off at 8:30, and that's Nashville home to Bethlehem. Big implications for both those sides. Bethlehem trying to stay atop of kind of like the second tier of 4 teams in the Eastern Conference table, while Nashville trying to get from the outside back in.
Yeah, Bethlehem have had a nice little run. They've got 4 wins in their last 5 games. And outside the top 3, along with Indy 11, they are one of the hottest teams in the USL Eastern Conference in the last 5 games. So that Charlotte, North Carolina game, though, Graham, as you referred to, not only big for those 2, but it's huge for the Ottawa Fury as well. You know, at the end of the day, you want to be looking at it, and you're at least still in a playoff position. If you can push yourself into 8 spots or higher, that's great.
Kasana loses possession. David Edgar, calm as you like, and that one knocked into touch by Kyle Venter. Out for an Ottawa throw, just to the right of their bench. Play allowed to carry on there after Portilla and Kasana collided. Now Edgar and Dennis collide.
Dear, oh dear. I tell you what, Graham, every single time there's a 50-50 ball, one coach is absolutely going livid. And unfortunately, these are the type of games that boil over into the second half, and we start looking at situations where you're getting straight red cards, you're getting lads injured, you know, and it's not good.
I was going to say, as the way the pace is going right now, you feel like you're bound to see a red. But the longer the game stays level, I think you're safe from that occurring. But once one side kind of gets in front, depending on how it occurs, of course, because if you think back to that, well, the offside flag was up, but it was knocked out for a corner,
right.
So Penn gets the corner. If Paulo Jr. puts that one away,
that's right. Yeah.
You know, it all goes off at that point.
It blows up, yeah. It blows up real good.
Watch highlights from every game of the 2018 season and stay up to date with news from across the USL at the league's official Facebook page. Visit facebook.com/USL Soccer. Some great news this week because the USL will surpass 2 million in total league attendance, maintaining a record pace in the stands for the league's modern era. The league and its team would like to thank you, the fans, for rising support that you've provided over the course of this season as we head towards the 2018 USL Cup playoffs. And
that's absolutely fantastic. I mean, the amount of people coming through the turnstiles to watch these games, we've got so many quality players, so many quality teams involved, Graham, and it's absolutely fantastic to see that you've got such tight races, certainly in the Eastern Conference, not only for playoff spots, but outside of Cincinnati for those home field spots as well in the first round. So congratulations to the USL for doing such a wonderful job in promoting the game of football. It's a great chance. Oh, what a tackle. David Edgar had to be strong, he had to be sure in that tackle. to get the ball cleared away there. But Kasana again, a danger man, Graham, just getting the ball, a little bit of space in that box. Bringing it down in a split-second tackle there by David Edgar, preventing a shot on target.
Well, he leads this team in scoring, Lucky Kasana, and for good reason. We've seen what he could do when he was part of the Tampa Bay Rowdies, when he was part of the New York Cosmos. This guy knows how to find the back of the net, and he's certainly presented himself well here this evening. And David Edgar, oh my goodness, how fortunate Ottawa Fury FC are to have another Canadian national team player in the squad. We were talking about Crépeau, you know, getting called in by Canada. Well, there's another name that could well get that call. And when you look at this, well, the center back tandem for tonight anyways, 2 Canadian internationals and Adakora and Edwards side by each.
Jeez. You imagine if you had those two and Crépeau in behind them for a game. That would, for the Ottawa Fury, it would be absolutely fantastic that you brought in 3 players that are playing at home, they're playing in their home country, they've got international experience, but they've been playing together. You know, if Edgar continues to play alongside Adakora for the next 5 or 6 games, it would be terrific if they all got an opportunity.
It's a shot from distance, and Penn have opened the scoring, and it's the former Fury man in Paolo Jr. who cuts to the inside, a right-footed strike, and he's opened the scoring here right on halftime.
That was a terrific effort, Graham, from about 23, 24 yards out. I don't believe anyone comes out to close him down. He's given all sorts of time, and Crépeau's left grasping at air. But right here, looks like Eddie Edward just backs off and probably looking to take the winger that was making the overlapping run. And as the shot went in, Crépeau really didn't have any chance at all. A fine strike, but I think Ottawa Fury could have done better in making sure that shot did not get away from that distance out, Graham. But a bit of a blow for the Ottawa Fury. I think most of the play has been towards the Penn FC end, and the Ottawa Fury unfortunately now are having to play catch-up for the second half.
Well, that's the first goal in a long time for Paolo Jr., his first as a member of Penn FC. And he opens the scoring right on 45 minutes. We will have 1 additional minute of stoppage time as Ottawa look to get something going before the end of half. Jake Bond to clear. And there's the whistle to conclude the opening 45 minutes here at TD Place. It was an intense one, and it's Ottawa trailing by a 1-0 score as we'll head down to the touchline and hear from Fury FC head coach.
All right, coach. Fairly even battle going in despite the late goal. How does Fury regain the advantage in second half?
I think we have to take our chances, and we have to score when we produce corners, lateral free kicks, chances in front of the goal. I think we have to materialize these situations in goals. We produce a lot of situations, however we didn't score.
What will be your key message to the guys in the locker room?
I think we have to push a little bit more further, be able to catch the moment in certain spots, and then use our speed and score the occasions that we produce.
Thank you, coach. Good luck.
And thanks very much, Michelle. As we hear from head coach Nikola Popovic, and yeah, they need to be that extra little bit forward. And I think we saw that to start the game, that high line of pressure we did see. And then it kind of became that battle in the midfield. But as intensity goes, that was the most intense 45 minutes we've seen from 2 teams here all season. And it's kind of really heightened with Ottawa now going down 1-0 on that goal by Paolo Jr. That first 15 minutes of this second half, I think, is crucial from Nikola Popovic's side.
It really will be, and it's a situation where if Ottawa fall behind the second goal, you know, you might see things start to get a little bit, you know, out of command here, because you've got to get back into the game as quickly as possible. And as Popovic mentioned, you've had opportunities. We've talked about it, the set plays. I think the pressure, though, that he's asking for, we highlighted it off the top of the show, is one of the keys. You've got to get that high pressure. Some parts of the first half you were doing it, other parts you weren't. You were just sitting off Penn FC and allowing them to play it down the flanks and get good balls into the feet of Lucky Kasana and allow him to maybe create a little bit of magic. So a good 44 minutes by the Ottawa Fury, wasted unfortunately by a sloppy goal, it has to be said, defensively, but they've still got work to do in the second half. 45 minutes to get these very, very important 3 points.
Lots coming up at halftime. We'll hear from Tyler McDonald. Gordon and I will be joined by Teo Gauthier from the Ottawa Sport Network. We'll get to news, highlights, and more when we return. Fury FC trailing 1-0 through 45 minutes here at TD Place. This is Ottawa Fury FC Soccer.
Did you know the Brick is 100% proudly Canadian? We employ over 5,000 Canadians, and nobody knows more about furnishing Canadian homes at the guaranteed lowest price than us. Saving you more. It's not just a slogan. Saving you more is our obsession.
Hey, Impreza. What's new?
Well, I've got this available reverse automatic braking feature.
Oh.
When I reverse, I can automatically brake if I'm about to hit something.
All I do is beep.
Subaru
Beep.
Impreza.
Beep. Ouch.
Gabriel Pizza, proud supporter of local sports. Gabriel Pizza, home of the bigger, better pizza. 310-7777 or GabrielPizza.com.
What do you live for? Is it for your crew? For overcoming obstacles? Live for what you want. So what do you live for?
Welcome back here to TD Place. 1-0 Penn FC lead at halftime and a late goal by Paolo Jr. They look to continue that in the second half as the rain starts to fall here at TD Place. And I think the saying goes, rain, the man is snoring, something along those lines. But I tell you what, no one was snoring in goal this past week. As we take a look at the saves of the week for week 23.
Send the cross in towards a penalty spot. Williamson wins the header, and Cardoni with an impressive save to keep the scoreline level.
Delivery there by Kanumbe to the back post. Up for the header. Oh, what a save by Vaughn Williams.
Illinois with the drums before the game, and this is a through ball. Shot getting a piece of it. What a play by Nico Cordy.
Gonzalez, who this time will send it in. Header won by Loria, and then put on frame. A great save by Kendall McIntosh to keep it out from the net.
Time in college. What a back flip that is, and what a save! Dick just gets an outstretched hand to it.
Even saw our very own Tony Taylor there get robbed off a beautiful header. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, we'll see if we see more saves of the week coming up here in the second half. This is Ottawa Fury FC Soccer.
Looking for number 14. There it is.
Cross comes in towards the back post, and Foster Langsdorff has his 11th goal this season. The corner of the 18. Cross comes in, and a goal for Foster Langsdorff. It's his second of the evening.
Into the box, a strike, and a goal. Christian Valesky. Guess who? Again, Valesky with his second. Slides it across. Michael Seaton. Seaton in on goal. Michael Seaton, he's at the brace.
Ledesma right at the edge of the 18, takes a shot, and Manu Ledesma does it again! Now Spees gives it a go, and Spees finds the back of the net. Game of one-upsmanship from the Indy 11 this season.
Rebound comes out though, and it's stuck right back in. And guess who? Solomon Asante. Chance now for St. Louis. Long overdue goal for Corey Herzog. Here's Carl Howarth, and the shot, and it is 1-0 Ottawa Fury FC.
Here's Aiden to strike. It hits the frame of the goal and goes in. Laid off to the path of Barry. He's onside, and he fires it home.
It'll be Gordon to strike with his right boot, hits it, and puts it in the back of the net.
To Velasquez. He'll take a crack through distance, and a goal! Chandler Hoffman redirects it for the goal.
Here's another opportunity. Dixon shot, and a score.
Back to Corbin Bone. Bone inside of the 18. Buries it in the back of the net.
Phil Belmar. Now into the area, Carlson Belmar. Losing his defender, Belmar. Surely, the Blackwood gets the goal.
Great save by Kendall McIntosh.
Shot getting a piece of it. What a save.
Great stop by Dykstra.
Oh, what a save by Vaughn Williams.
Cardoni with an impressive save. A brilliant save.
Welcome back inside TD Place. Halftime here, 1-0 Penn FC leading a goal in the 45th minute by former Fury striker Paolo Jr. has the visitors in front. We're now happy to be joined by Teo Gauthier from the Ottawa Sport Network. Teo, your thoughts from what we saw through 45 minutes?
An intense 45 minutes from the Ottawa Fury. They came out of the gate on the front foot, which was a great thing to see for the Fury. They really took it to Penn FC for the first 10, 15 minutes. Then the game got a little bit away from the referee, I thought, with some fouls that weren't called, some that were, and that was unfortunate. And then the goal by Paolo Jr. really stealing the first half at the death there. But it was a good sign for the Fury. I think they've got what it takes on the field to come back in this one.
And to you, after tonight, the Fury now have 5 straight games on the road, and I think that's going to really indicate where they're going to end up as far as the playoffs go. What's your thought on these 5 road games coming up?
Well, they're crucial. They're a mini season inside the entire season with these 5 matches on the road. They meet Toronto twice, which, you know, they should be 6 points. Not to slag on Toronto FC too, but they're at the bottom of the table. They haven't done much this season. They also meet Richmond, whom they've had success against, and they should go out and get a lot of points. And by the time they come back to Ottawa at the end of September, should have a playoff spot secured if things go the way that the Fury, the way that the form table's going. It should be the playoffs in the bag once they come back, and maybe shooting for that 4th playoff spot with a home game.
Quick one before we let you go. There's been a lot of conversation, especially online, about the coverage or lack thereof by the local media for Ottawa Fury FC. And you know, you've kind of become the pseudo beat writer of the team, if you will, for the Ottawa Sport Network this season. Just kind of talk about kind of where you kind of see that situation at this point in time, because in addition to your coverage, you've also been a proud supporter of the club for a number of years.
Well, for the first few years, there was a lot of local coverage in the media here, and that sort of died away in the next 2 seasons. And this year, I see it coming back a little bit with a lot of the beat writers, including myself, but the other ones that are on the beat here do a pretty good job of coming to games and reporting on the team. You've got the print media, you've got some CBC coverage. It's all pretty good, but I think the results will determine the wave of media coverage coming back. And if the Fury can get into the playoffs, the media will be there. And I think what you saw at the end of 2015 with the acceleration of the media coverage will come back completely.
Well, results are what they needed, and a result is what they need to get here in the second half. Fury FC trail Penn FC by a 1-0 score through 45 minutes. We'll be back with highlights and stats when we return. This is Ottawa Fury FC Soccer.
Hey, Impreza. What's new?
Well, I've got this available reverse automatic braking feature.
Oh.
When I reverse, I can automatically brake if I'm about to hit something.
All I do is beep.
Subaru Impreza.
Beep. Ouch.
What do you live for?
TD Place as we're getting ready for second half action to get underway. Penn FC with that 1-0 lead on that late strike by the former Fury striker Paolo Jr. Gord. And, you know, we were talking with Teo during the last segment just about the intensity of that first half and how, you know, he noted that Ottawa really started that first 10-15 minutes on the front foot. And it seemed almost as the game intensified that maybe part of that frustration that they were experiencing kind of took them out of the game a little bit as we have a look at our first half highlights brought to you by Labatt. And, well, I think that highlight right there is a lot of what we're going to see and what really sums up that opening 45 minutes. Collisions, almost tackles at times.
Yeah, you know, sometimes it looked like a rugby game with some of the up and unders we were getting as well as some of the tackles. But as Coach Popovich said at half-time, they did have their chances. They did have the opportunities. I mean, the best opportunity, the half outside of the goal, was Paolo Jr. right there. That was a free kick the Fury thought they should have gotten. This was a free kick that was actually given. A little bit of absence between Bond and DeSantos. And then that's a look. I mean, when you look at it from that angle, your foot is raised. You are going in with studs up, Graham. And that's entirely possible that the referee or someone could have looked at that, maybe even given a red. This is a good one at the back post. I think Venter probably was caught in two minds. And this is, again, someone's got to go out and close him down. You cannot stand off him 5 yards away, Graham, and allow the lad to make a shot from that distance out, because he'll bury it. And over the course of the 45 minutes, was it against the run of play? Overall, I think Ottawa probably should. We might not see the possession stats. We never ever seem to do with the Ottawa Fury possession stats lately, but I think as far as territorial goes, a lot of the game was played in central midfield, but also in the Penn FC defensive third as well. I think it's just unfortunate you conceded that goal minutes before the end of the first half, and you've now got to come out here in the second half and up that intensity even more.
And as we have a look at those first half stats, six shots for the visiting Penn FC, 4 for Ottawa Fury FC, only 37% possession. Again, a statistic that really doesn't seem to bother head coach Nikola Popovich very much. But the one thing that I will say is that, you know, when you look at the number of times this season when Maxime Crépeau has come charging off his line frustrated with his defenders, it's because somebody has dropped off or someone hasn't stepped up to close that gap, and that's presented an opportunity for the visiting team. And that's exactly why on the opportunity we saw there as Carl Howarth tried to flick it on for Steven DeSantos.
And we'd been talking minutes earlier about how well Atakora and Edgar and Crépeau had been playing. And all of a sudden, out of the blue, you get that shot in the back of the net. But again, Nana's got to step up. He realised that's where the danger was, but he just held off. He waited before he made any movement forward, and unfortunately, at that point, Paolo Jr. had already pulled the trigger, Graham, and it was on its way into the back of the net. So, bit of a wake-up call for the Ottawa Fury. Now we've talked about this home form. 7 out of 10 of the 10 wins have come here at home, and you know, they're going to have to up their game here in the second half. Come from behind again to pick up 3 points against Penn FC. And it's going to be a tough ask in the second half, because I'm sure Penn FC will just drop a little bit deeper. Be quite happy inside these first 15-20 minutes to just let Ottawa Fury have the possession in their own half. We're not going to worry about it. When you go over midfield, then we're going to start to pick you up, and things might change. Looks like a flat back 4 now again for Penn FC. Bond has dropped all the way back pretty much to right back position now, so very interesting to see that.
Opportunity there. Oh, Pézère gets an arm to it. Able to stay in play, and that one cleared away as Ottawa with some good intensity to start this second half, as they almost found an equalizer, if not for the arm of the former Fury goalkeeper.
And I even think that came off the defender as well, Graham. I don't know if we got a chance to see on the replay, but Pézère may have got a touch onto the defender, as all good defenders should do, defend all the way to the line. He did a great job on running all the way back, and if Pézère did get the only touch on it, then great save by the keeper. But if the defender was the last one to chest it off the line, so to speak, then very well done to him as well.
Portilla plays this one over the top. It falls to Eddie Edward. Now in for DeSantos. DeSantos gets a shot, takes a deflection. And the foul called against Eddie Edward on the back of Walter Ramirez. As we have a look at that lost opportunity from Carl Haworth. And it does actually, no, you're right, it didn't even catch Romuald Pezer. It was the chest of former Fury defender Kyle Venter.
Terrific play by the big lad, and he did the right thing. He saw that the breaker come down the right-hand side, and he did extremely well to get back and get pretty much on between the 6-yard box and the goal line, Graham, and get that cleared away. But a bright start here again in the second half for the Ottawa Fury, much as we expected. A little bit of a pushback after that surprising goal conceded at 44 minutes.
Foul called as Kevin Oliveira brought to turf by Miguel Jaime. Free kick opportunity coming from quite a distance. Kevin Oliveira behind it for Ottawa. Edgar, Adacora, Obasi move forward. Steven DeSantos is in there as well, as is Carl Haworth. Oliveira's delivery comes in shallow. That one headed away, but Ottawa will maintain possession on the throw.
Well, Graham, we talked about out-of-town scoreboard. Goals are raining in all over the Eastern Conference. It's now North Carolina 2, Charlotte 1, Charleston 3, New York 0, Richmond 0, Louisville City 2. Obviously, we have our game at 1-0, and Atlanta Indy 11 still scoreless at 0-0. So all to play for. Chopping and changing every single weekend, Graham, and that's what's wonderful to see here in the USL.
David Edgar in possession, moves it across the middle to Christian Portilla, outlets to Nana Adacora. Adacora goes down, collides with Paulo Jr., foul called just inside the Fury half. Portilla looking for Haworth, falls to Eddie Edward. Edward reverses for Jamar Dixon. Dixon now to Adacora, who's inside the Penn half. Portilla back inside his own half to the always calm David Edgar. Edgar out to the left for Obasi. Adonijah Reed gets a touch but can't keep it in play, and Penn will take over on the throw.
Well, I think what's very interesting, Graham, is we're in the 51st minute here, and there are no Ottawa Fury substitutes at all, even warming up. So, I mean, that would be an indication that, Popovich is obviously fairly comfortable with the 11 that are out there, about how well they've been playing, and unfortunately, as we said, giving up that goal. But it's a scenario where if anybody gets injured, there's really nobody ready and able to come in right away.
DeSantos tries one from distance and did not miss by much. And that one startled Romuald Pezer, who I don't think was expecting that effort from that far out.
I don't think any of us were, Graham. I mean, it certainly did set up nicely for DeSantos when he decided to take the shot.
Here's DeSantos again for Kevin Oliveira. Oliveira's effort. That one
corner kick
takes a deflection and does go out for Ottawa's first corner of this second half.
Well, two lovely breaks there by the Fury. DeSantos obviously with the first shot. DeSantos starting it with the second attack. And again, the Fury, as we suspected, Graham, coming out extremely aggressive here inside these first 10 minutes of the second half.
Christian Portilla set to deliver for Ottawa. A crowd at the near post. This one goes into the back post. And that one headed off the line. And then again out for another Ottawa corner. That one almost curled right into the back post by Christian Portilla.
Yeah, Pezer looks like he's taken a bit of an injury there as he came across for the second ball. He missed the first one. Fortunately, it cleared away at the back post. And as he came in for the second one, I think his own player, big number 4 Tibbet, caught with an elbow. I don't think there's an awful lot in that, but certainly...
we've seen that before.
We've read that novel, haven't we?
Back up, ready to go. Portilla again to take for Ottawa. Again, that crowd all at the front post. Howarth peels off to the back post. Delivered in. Pézère just gets his fingertips to it and out for another corner.
Well, relentless pressure here by the Ottawa Fury, Graham. Obviously, they got a talking to at half-time. Coach Popovich either said, just keep doing what we're doing, or let's just try and up the intensity to see if Penn FC can hang with us. And right now, it's all one-way traffic pointing towards Romeo Pézère.
Howard to deliver from the opposite side, punched away by Pézère. Penn just trying to get outside of their own half and relieve some of the pressure. Cleared away. Eddie Edward first on it for Ottawa. Sends that one into touch under pressure from Lucky Kasana.
I think the problem right now for Penn FC, Graham, there's no outlet ball. There's nothing up front for them. Everybody's dropping deep into their own half, so when they do get a chance to get it well lead up the park, there's absolutely no one there to win it. And the Fury FC are getting a chance to control it themselves and come back the other way.
It's now 3-1.
Steinberg with a hat-trick.
In North Carolina, Zach Steinberg, all three, scoring 2 in the second half, 2 minutes apart to complete the hat-trick. And as it stands right now, if North Carolina are to take all 3 points, which they're well positioned to do, that would put them 1 point back of both Ottawa and Nashville in the Eastern Conference standings for that 8th and final playoff spot. Howarth brings it down, plays it into the middle. Oliveira pressured back to Christian Portilla. Now Nana Adakora. 55th minute here at TD Place. Penn FC hanging on to that 1-0 lead that they scored on the cusp of halftime. Eddie Edward looking for DeSantos. Finds it on the second touch. DeSantos gives way to Edward. Tries to get round the captain Ken Tribbett. That one knocked into touch for another Ottawa throw. Eddie Edward looking for options. Howarth gets a touch, bit heavy. Tried to plead his case for a corner, but it is awarded as a goal kick.
Well, we saw the stats just at the tail end of our half-time show, Graham, and I think only showed the one shot on target for Penn FC was basically the actual goal that they got. I can't really recall Crépeau having an awful lot to do, maybe deal with some set plays and stuff along those lines, but I think it's been fairly quiet for him as far as defending his goal, but he still finds himself down 1-0.
Walter Ramirez in space. He tries one towards the back post. That one up and over Maxime Crépeau. And right now, inside the second half anyways, Ottawa outpossessing the visitors 73% to 27. But overall, Penn FC still in front 57-43, and that's probably...
I think we expected that, Graham, because...
But that's the closest margin we've seen possession-wise for Ottawa for, well, at least the last 4, 5, maybe 6 games.
Yeah. But that was to be expected. I mean, we did think Penn FC would drop a good 5-10 yards back in towards their own goal, Graham, just to try and defend this lead inside the first 15-20 minutes. They've done that inside 11.
They've dropped almost back to the edge of their own 18.
Yeah, in some case. I mean, we look right now, there's a line of 5 right along that back line. You've got your holding midfielder has dropped in. Now you've got a line of 5, a line of 4, and you've got Lucky Kasana up there all by himself. So certainly when you're defending, the White Shirts are doing a terrific job to get back and make sure that the Fury don't have any space and time in the attacking third, Graham.
Eddie Edward wins back possession with that header, finds Kevin Oliveira. Back to Jamar Dixon. David Edgar. Places this one over the top, finds Walter Ramirez. Quick to clear that back to the midfield. Adakora wins the header. Eddie Edward tries to head that one on. That was knocked down. Ottawa pressing here, trying to win possession. It's Kevin Oliveira now. Cuts back into the middle. Oliveira to Reed. Reed tries to cut inside. Good battle going there, and Reed called for the foul, much to his protest.
Graham, a goal by Carl Ouimet has given Indy 11 a 1-0 lead over Atlanta United in the 53rd minute. So again, a team above the Ottawa Fury gaining points so far so tonight.
Carl Howard tries to go through 4 players and almost able to do it, but dispossessed just before he got to the penalty area. Ottawa back in possession, deep inside their own half. It's David Edgar now to Christian Portilla. Steven DeSantos now for Ottawa. Finds Eddie Edward on the right. Edward cuts inside. Edward still going to DeSantos. Looks back for Eddie Edward. Can he get a delivery in? Sends it into the back post. There's the header and right into the waiting arms of Romuald Pézère off the head of Onowo Obasi.
Well, there was 3 players at the back post area completely wide open for the Ottawa Fury. And they all seemed to get caught up in each other, Graham. Who was going to take it? Finally, there was a shout. And a fairly tame and weak header in towards goalkeeper Pézère, but terrific work from Eddie Edward, charging down the right-hand side, breaking down the channel. And as he clipped that ball to the back post area, unfortunately, not enough power in the header for the Ottawa Fury to put it beyond Pézère. We're still 1-0 with 59 minutes gone.
Well, Raul Voss giving Matt Soare an earful. Soare, the 4th official for tonight's match. And
he's like,
I think he's had the hardest job, I think, of anybody, as he's had to try and police both benches. Neither have been pleased with how this match has been officiated so far.
Should be giving him a whistle in cards to make sure the 2 coaches are kept under wraps. But yeah, it's been, the second half has been a little bit tamer as far as that first half went, Graham, but there still could be lots of fireworks still to come.
Paolo Jr. plays that one across the top of the penalty area.
Jaime,
just puts it on top of the goal, just over the fingertips of Maxime Crépeau, as Miguel Jaime almost chipped one in.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that was intentional, Graham, or if he was trying to get it.
I don't think it was on purpose,
yeah.
But nonetheless.
I think Crépeau had it fairly well covered if it had been on target, but just a little sign there for the Fury that the Penn FC themselves on the counter-attack can be fairly lively, can be fairly dangerous.
Get an inside look at life on and off the field from a player's perspective every Wednesday evening in the latest edition of From the Pitch on USLsoccer.com.
Richmond Kickers 0, Louisville City FC 3, Graham. The destination of those 3 points not in any doubt at all right now after 58 minutes. Charleston as well, still holding on to a 3-0 lead over New York Red Bulls. Carolina 3, Charlotte 1, and Atlanta 0, Indy 1. So our USL Eastern Conference will have a whole new complexion by when the 90-minute whistle blows all over North America here this evening.
Well, a win here tonight would put Penn FC, depending on what happens between Nashville and Tampa Bay, could put them 6 points back, but the benefit that they have is they do have some games in hand on teams that they're chasing, and that's the other factor when you look at this table, and we will look at that in our post-match show on Facebook Live, just how tight it is, but also the games remaining for some of these teams that, hey, you might say, oh, well, they're going to be in a hard spot, but some of them have 3 games in hand on others, which can be an advantage or a disadvantage, because as the window to the end of the season closes, that means you've got a greater volume of games in a shorter period of time.
And if 2 of your last 7 or 8 games are against FC Cincinnati, Graham, then that certainly isn't anything you'd want to be dealing with. The only issue with there is if you play them late in the season, FC Cincinnati may already have first place well wrapped up. They start resting players. Set
piece here for Penn FC. That one delivered into the back post. No trouble there at all for Maxime Crépeau. We'll hang on for a moment and survey his options as we tick over into the 63rd minute here at TD Place. Ottawa trailing by a 1-0 score. A first half dagger on the cusp of halftime from former Fury striker Paolo Jr. Adonijah Reed looks to put himself about down that left side and has won Ottawa a corner here. Their 4th of the half and now 7th of the game.
Well, you know, 7 corners, Graham, that's usually an indication that where the game is being played, and certainly in the second half here, it has tilted toward Penn FC. The Fury have to start taking advantage of some of these set plays, certainly corner kicks.
Howarth with the delivery. Lucky Kasana heads that one well clear, headed down by Jamar Dixon. Kevin Oliveira. Now to make that, it was Oliveira who took the corner, not Howarth, my mistake. And now Penn look to escape here. Ottawa Bassi. Good defensive work there. Lucky Kasana well back inside his own half. So just to give you an idea of how defensively minded Penn FC have been in this second half, their target striker and leading scorer well back inside his own 18-yard box trying to defend.
Well, that's it. I mean, you defend from the front, don't you? You need to make sure that if you're not in possession of the ball, your structure, your shape, your team setup is such that, yeah, we expect you to get back and help out. Obviously, that last sequence of play, he was already back for the corner kick, but doing a terrific job helping out at the back end, and I'm sure that's not going unnoticed by the lads behind him as well. Louisville City absolutely putting it to Richmond kickers. It's now 4-0, Graham. 61 minutes gone in that game, and a very comfortable evening for Louisville City as they look to jump up into second place. They will now go to 46 points ahead of the Pittsburgh Riverhounds.
Well, and Richmond had gone a long time. I think it was 5, maybe 6 games without scoring up until their last game, where they beat the team that Ottawa's playing here tonight by a 3-2 score.
And I think the 2 goals they actually conceded were penalty kicks as well. Penn FC got 2 penalties, if I remember correctly from watching the highlights. There's a late goal there, I believe, that took all 3 points for Richmond. Might be a little bit too late, too far for Richmond here in 2018, but it's always nice when you can play a little bit of a spoiler, Graham, and knock off some of the teams that are fighting for playoff spots. And that was a huge loss for Penn FC, because they'd have picked up that win. They would have been at 29. They get the 3 points here tonight. They're then at 32. They are right back in the mix.
Adonijah Reed called for a foul in the midfield, and again, frustration from the Fury players on some of the calls here tonight.
Here we see a substitution, Graham, now coming in for the Fury. Jeremy Gagnon-Laparé is coming in, and we're just looking to see who will be getting hauled off for the Ottawa Fury. There's, I'm sure, a debate as to, do you take an attacker off, do you take a midfielder off? Gagnon-Laparé obviously is a midfielder, Graham, so we would suspect it possibly could be Jamar Dixon, maybe Oliveira. We're not 100% sure.
David Edgar finds Portilla. Gives it over to Adekora as Ottawa's back line just looking for something to open up.
Yeah, but I think the terrific job that Penn FC are doing, Graham, they're closing down every single of the 3 strikers up front. They're all getting closed down. They've only got about a yard of space. In central midfield, they're doing a wonderful job. Dixon's getting closed down. Oliveira's getting closed down. And that's exactly what you want to do. In a road game, you're 1-0 up. 24 minutes left to go. It will be number 88, Oliveira, coming off for the Ottawa Fury. Gagnon-Laparé prepares himself to come in. So in the 67th minute, Gagnon-Laparé on Kevin Oliveira off to the Ottawa Fury. New York Red Bulls 2 have pulled a goal back, Graham. It's now 3-1 against Charleston. There's a handball there, but play continued on the blind side of the official.
Jamar Dixon tries to cut into the middle. He's dispossessed, and now Penn looking to counter here. Daniel Lapare was fouled. That one by Aaron Dennis. And now we'll see the first substitution coming here from the visiting Penn FC as Paulo Jr., the man who has his team in front, will come off in place of Isaac Osei.
Paulo Jr. just taking his time getting off, as you would expect. You're 1-0 up. The referee just having a quick chat with him, saying, "Can you speed it up a wee bit, son, because I've got a flight to catch later on tonight." He's had a decent game, Paulo Jr., in his return back to Ottawa. I believe this is his second game with Penn FC this year here in Ottawa, and he's got the all-important goal right now, Graham, that has Penn FC with the 3 points in their back pocket.
Set piece delivered in, and that one will be cleared away for yet another Fury FC corner. Christian Portilla trots over to take this one. This is corner number 5 of the half, number 8 on the match for Ottawa. Five bodies all in at the near post. Howarth cuts to the back post. There's the delivery. And a foul called as Romuald Pézère goes to ground.
Yeah, when you get that many bodies in a certain area, Graham, it's easy for the referee to spot something that's not quite. And I'm just having a quick look, and I can't exactly see what it was that the free kick was given for. I really couldn't see any arm, anybody being pushed, anybody being pulled. It was just a ball into the danger area, and for some reason, the whistle goes for a free kick against the Ottawa Fury. Look, and I'm sure Penn FC are happy about it.
We've seen it. We saw it for 2.5 years.
Yeah.
And like it or hate it, Romuald Pézère is one of the smartest goalkeepers out there, and he knows how to win. A dangerous giveaway there, and it falls loose. Can they get a 2-0 lead? And it's just deflected away. A wasted opportunity there by the substitute Isaac Osei. As a defensive blunder, Eddie Edward trying to go back to goalkeeper Maxime Crépeau. Not enough pace on it.
Yeah, it was very lucky. Again, it was an uncharacteristic mistake by a couple of veterans, and the Fury very, very fortunate that wasn't punished for a 2-0 lead against a team struggling below you that really probably would have put the match over as a contest, Graham, here tonight. As it is still all to play for. Fury need to just step things up a little bit though, Graham, and take their chances.
That one knocked out by, I think, off the boot of Jamar Dixon. That will go out for the first corner of the second half for Penn FC, 4th on the night. 71st minute, score remains 1-0 in favor of the visitors. That coming off the boot of Paulo Jr. right at the end of the opening half. Delivered in, headed away by Portilla, falls to Adonijah Reed. He does the rest of the work, clearing it out to the midfield. Lucky Kasana goes up against Nana Adakora. Adakora wins it. Penn FC maintained possession. Aaron Dennis. 1v1 against Eddie Edward. Dennis opens up, cuts into the middle. Dennis still going. Daniel Lapare forces him over to the other side. Jake Bond. Played out wide, looking for the return feed. That one cleared away. Now Steven DeSantos away for Ottawa. DeSantos, that's a nasty challenge from behind. Most certainly yellow card.
Graham, North Carolina are now 5-1 up on the Charlotte Independence. I can't quite see yet who scored, but they got 2 goals in the 69th and 73 minutes, 4 minutes apart. North Carolina absolutely mowing down the Charlotte Independence. And speaking of mowing down there, DeSantos, when he got that ball, Graham, he was 1v4, and he just thought, I'll put my head down, see what happens. And a bad tackle from behind. And I think Carl
That was
Haworth was just having a chat with the referee and just saying, look, that was dangerous. It was from behind. And again, it was a possibility that maybe on another day somebody gets a red card for that, Graham. The referee decides it's just a yellow, but you know, when you see when you see some of the red cards that we saw today at the English Premier League, very soft variety. The Bournemouth-Everton game I thought was a couple of fairly soft ones, but you've seen some of the tackles here tonight. You've seen some of the incidents. You look at it and you say, my goodness, I mean, that could be a straight red.
There's only been two. You could have had,
I know,
for sure, 2 shouts for red cards, no question. You could have had 5 or 6 yellows already.
Well, there's 15 minutes left to go. I just wonder if we will see another substitute for the Ottawa Fury, Graham.
Adekora can't get separation from his man as he tried to make that run to the back post but couldn't get in behind Kyle Venter.
If we have a quick look at the subs bench and what's left there for the Fury, Daniel Haber basically is the only attacking force you've got out there with experience that could probably come in, and I think that in a game like this you definitely want to have an old head coming in, someone that's been involved in these tight games, these physical games, these niggly games, and he's got the proper temperament. You know exactly what you're going to get from him. So I wouldn't be surprised to possibly see Haber coming in at some point before the game ends.
And maybe a possibility of, you bring in someone like Thomas Mayer-Giguere and you push Obasi forward.
Yeah.
And you let him push that extra bit higher, get further down that left-hand channel. Well, completely mishit by Eddie Edward, as Lucky Kasana came in to try and close him down, and that threw him off just enough to mishit that one. Out for a goal kick. Well, and New York Red Bulls too have pulled another one back against the Charleston Battery. It's now 3-2 in Charleston, who are now playing with 10 men, as Brian Anunga picked up a straight red in the 61st minute. 3 minutes after that, Barlow scored, and then 4 minutes later, Aguinana scored to make it 3-2.
And Nashville and Bethlehem have just kicked off in their game as well, so pretty much most teams in the east outside of Tampa Bay and FC Cincinnati tonight, the final game to get going, and for some reason that's down as a 7:30 kickoff, but
I'm guessing that they're in some kind of weather delay there.
I would expect so, eh? Yellow card to Adekora. 3-3 now, Charleston, New York Red Bulls, Graham. Unbelievable, the goals that are being scored tonight all around the Eastern Conference in the USL. It's 1-0 Indy 11 over Atlanta. It's 3-3 Charleston, New York. It's 5-1 North Carolina, Charlotte. 1-0 here, 4-0 Louisville over Richmond.
3 goals in 9 minutes from the New York Red Bulls.
Unbelievable.
And they are the highest scoring team in USL for a reason. 56 goals on the year. My goodness.
You don't want to go for any concessions at their games, do you?
Kasana gets possession, but the offside flag is up after the judge that, I think it was Aaron Dennis, make that Isaac Osei, who was in the offside position. Daniel Haber kitted out, ready to come into this one.
Yeah, I thought that was probably the more obvious substitute, Graham, to make. Bring an attacker on for another attacker. Maybe Haworth or Reed. I think DeSantos has been wonderful tonight, leading that line again, Graham, and I'd be very surprised if he's getting taken off. So I'm sure there are a few players that don't want. Well, it looks like it is number 30, Adonijah Reed. And he's going off on the far side, so that'll allow the substitute to take place right away. Oh my goodness, Graham. North Carolina 6, Charlotte Independence 1. Keep in mind, Charlotte went up 1-0 in the 24th minute. North Carolina have come back with 6 unanswered goals here tonight. Absolutely stunning developments all around the USL. Oh my goodness. And we haven't even got to the Western Conference games kicked off yet. It's terrific to see, it really is. And And it's the kind of football that keeps fans engaged, Graham. You know, you want to have these type of games, and you want to have these type of momentum changes all over the league. And my goodness, tonight in North Carolina, Steenberger, as we said, the natural hat trick, 3 goals in a row to make it 3-1. Austin DeLue's got the 4th one. We still don't have confirmation yet of the 5th or the 6th goal for Charlotte, but basically they've scored 3 goals in the space of 9 minutes midway through the second half to pretty much shut down Charlotte here tonight.
Walter Ramirez coming out for the visiting Penn FC. Prince Buffo coming in here, so that change in the 78th minute. Eddie Edward on the throw, finds Steven DeSantos. Shouts for a foul. Jamar Dixon gets a touch to it, but now Jake Bond away down the right side for Penn FC. Bond has support with him. Aaron Dennis knocked down, and now a chance for Ottawa to counter. It's on Obasi leading the charge. Obasi cuts into the middle, nifty work. Obasi still going. Shouts for a foul, but play carries on as Obasi, after he cut inside on the first move, kind of lost his balance and stumbled a bit.
Yeah, and he's caught out of possession. Gagnon Lapare doing a good job just covering back into the space there. There was a man over on the other side, but he'd gone down injured. He got back up on his feet. He wasn't able to receive the ball.
Dixon sprays that to the right side for Steven DeSantos. Great first touch by DeSantos. Tries to deliver one in. That one blocked and out for a throw. Good defending there by Pedro Galval. Thrown in. DeSantos gets a touch. Trying to win it back. Eddie Edward closed down his man. Clearing attempt blocked by DeSantos, and now they'll try that one again. Back out to the midfield, brought down by Adekora. His touch gets away from him, and now a break for Isaac Osei. Osei sprays it across to the far side as Penn threaten here. Aaron Dennis. Dennis with a drive, it's 2-0! 80th minute goal by Aaron Dennis has given Penn FC a 2-0 lead.
Well, the counter-attack broke down there for the Ottawa Fury. Obasi was caught up the park. And as the ball broke, Atakora tried to bring it down. His touch was far too heavy. It went straight to Kisana, and a wonderful piece of vision there by Kisana to get it over to Dennis. But what about this for a finish? Look at that, absolutely. Put his foot right through it, Graham. Right into the top-hand corner. Penn FC takes a 2-0 lead here, and that just may be that here for the Ottawa Fury tonight.
That right there is a goal scorer's goal. What a finish.
And you know, again, there was 2 defenders in front of him. It looked like they had them fairly well marshalled as far as not being able to get the shot away, but just created a little bit of space over to his right side, and bang, pulled the trigger into the top of the net. 2-0 for Penn FC. And just a quick update, Charleston, after going down to 10 men, conceded 3 goals. They have now taken a 4-3 lead in the 75th minute. Dear, oh dear. These are the type of nights, Graham, that really define the USL, don't they? Because every single game is pivotal, every single minute is pivotal. And you battle back, you concede goals, you continue to play. And it's an absolute pleasure to watch, and be an absolute pleasure to be involved in watching this out-of-town scoreboard as much as anything else, because it has such a massive influence on how these top 8 spots are going to finish up in about 6 or 7 weeks' time.
Aaron Dennis, the man who made it 2-0 for Penn FC, comes out of the match in place of Jorge Rivera. So that's the 3rd and final substitution of the night for the visitors. Stay up to date with all of the best from social media around the USL by watching Off the Post with Kelsey Steele every Friday evening on the USL's social media channels. And of course, we mentioned earlier in the broadcast, no Tony Taylor available for Ottawa tonight after picking up a yellow card Wednesday in Bethlehem. He has to serve a 1-match suspension for yellow card accumulation.
And I think that's been a loss for them, you know, because I think over the last 6 or 7 games, Graham, Tony's been one of the better players for the Ottawa Fury, certainly in the attacking third, making sure that he's getting on the end of some of the good work coming from the lads in midfield and chasing down balls and harrying defenders and really making a nuisance of himself up front.
Portia to take the set piece here for Ottawa. Delivers it into the back post. Adekora up for the header, but foul called as Kyle Venture goes to ground with Adekora up against him.
Cincinnati with an early 1-0 lead, Graham, at Tampa Bay. That game really doesn't have much implications at all at the top or the bottom, so just giving an update.
Isaac Osei plays it back into the midfield. Don't think he meant to do that initially. Ottawa will win back possession through to Santos, who's drawn well back in the midfield to support. Adekora now to Eddie Edward. 84th minute at TD Place. Fury trail 2-0. 45th minute goal from Paulo Jr. and an 80th minute goal from Aaron Dennis. A reminder that following tonight's match, head over to the Ottawa Fury FC Facebook page for our Facebook Live post-match show. We'll hear from Fury FC head coach Nikola Popovic and from a couple of players. Edward brings that one down to Santos, trying to pick out Carl Howarth. That one cleared away, finds Jamar Dixon. And Ottawa will now make their third and final substitution. Christian Portia comes out in place of Clément Bahia. Bahia got his first start for Ottawa on Wednesday night in Bethlehem, starting in that right back role in place of Eddie Edward, who then replaced him at halftime. Got a set piece coming here for Ottawa in the 86th minute. The captain Carl Howarth to take. From 18 yards out to the left of goalkeeper Romuald Pézère. Howarth's delivery. Headed away. Falls to Jamar Dixon. He'll try one from distance. And that one misses well wide to the left of Romuald Pézère.
Yeah, caught it fairly well, but it just fizzed by that right-hand post there of Pézère. He was more than happy to let it go.
5,270 the attendance here at TD Place tonight. And as we mentioned, the USL expecting to surpass 2 million in total attendance this week. So hats off again to all the fans supporting the teams throughout the league. That's a tremendous mark, and on a pretty, I think, entertaining night, Gord, as we've been talking about the match here, but also that out-of-town scoreboard. And when you look at it, Louisville 6 goals in that 6-0 lead over Richmond. North Carolina up 6-2 on Charlotte. Charleston up 4-3 on New York. The goals have been raining down across the USL tonight, and
we might hit 2 million goals tonight, never mind 2 million attendance.
Well, we're just through, well, not even completely through the Eastern Conference fixtures tonight. There's still the West to get underway. Well, in fact, they already have, and St. Louis FC have a 1-0 lead over Tulsa. Swope Park 1-0 up on San Antonio. Those games are less than 15 minutes old. But here it's Penn FC looking for more. Jeremy Gagnon, Laparé shuts that one down. Great effort there to get it to the captain, Carl Howarth. Howarth has Bahia running, or make that Haber running to his right. Couldn't find him. Lucky Kasana now for Penn FC. Miguel Jaime on the left.
Offside.
Isaac Osei just a bit too excited with that run. Gets in behind Both Eddie Edward and Nana Akora, who held their line firm.
Yeah, it's been an enjoyable evening, Graham. Certainly not for the Ottawa Fury, unfortunately, but when you see the excitement that's going on around the league, and some of the fan bases must just be over the moon that there's a good chance for Dos Santos again.
Well, Dos Santos has given Ottawa several opportunities to score, but in the second half, that wall of white from Penn FC makes it tough to put anything through, and that's why that goal on the cusp of halftime from Paulo Jr. so crucial for the visitors tonight, who have really been able just to sit back and shut things down inside their own half.
I mean, it's almost a perfect road game for them, isn't it? I mean, they come in here, they snatch the goal late in the first half, and then the second half it's more or less just shut up shop, Graham, and that was a handball. Just appeared to roll up his arm there as he got caught with the bounce in front of him. We got a chance to see that in the replay coming up, but as the ball went to the back post area, it looked like it spun up a little bit onto his right arm, and right away the Fury players were calling for a handball. Nothing came of it, and the referee allowed play to continue. But 89th minute now, it's going to be a really big ask for the Fury, who haven't scored in 89 minutes, to get 2 goals just to even snatch a point here tonight, Graham.
Well, shots are 10-9 in favor of Ottawa, both sides with 3 apiece on target. Should also note that it's now 2-0 for St. Louis against Tulsa. That game only 14 minutes old.
And those 3 goals, Graham, 3 shots on target tonight, matches their average for the season, like we said off the top of the show in the keys. It's just, you've got to start getting more shots on goal. And as busy as Romeo Pezer has been tonight on set plays, which I think has been the main route for the Ottawa Fury to goal, from open play, he really hasn't had an awful lot of saves to make.
Jamar Dixon goes up for the header. He remains down after that and looks to be in a world of discomfort in the midfield. And yeah, he is not even able to get up, and that's not a good sign for Jamar Dixon, who immediately came up clutching that right ankle as you see him go up for the header. Oh, that.
Oh dear.
That did not look comfortable at all.
He is up on his feet, and we hope that it's, just. That looked really nasty as far. You know, we think back to early in the season where Tissot on the near corner here, Graham, got injured as well, and he tried to get back on his feet and continue to play, and then eventually I think it was his ACL just completely gave away, and he just dropped like a sack of potatoes. And we just hope that Jamar's going to be okay. I know they've used all 3 of their substitutions, but at some point you've just got to make a decision that you're more of a hindrance out there to yourself than anything else. I mean, he can't even run for the ball. He's got to get off. That's crazy. That is absolutely crazy for the young man to be having to stay out here. Get him off. Let's worry about the next game and get him healthy, because he's only going to do more damage to that ankle, Graham.
Edgar sends that one forward out of the reach of Gagnon Laparé. Obasi heads it wide looking for Bahia. And Penn FC happy just to clear it inside the Ottawa half. And really Ottawa just pretty much playing with 10 men here, as Jamar Dixon can't really move far from that midfield circle. It's the captain, Carl Howarth, down the right side. Howarth cuts inside, gets stiff-armed, he goes down. Pierre-Luc Rosier waves him to get up and allows play to continue. Lucky Kasana. Osei into the middle. Dixon can't make a run for it, and that allows Penn FC to maintain possession as Bahia didn't come back to support.
Graham, the New York Red Bulls have tied it up. Tom Barlow now has his hat-trick as well to go with Steinberger's hat-trick for North Carolina. 4-4. Charleston, New York Red Bulls 2. in the 90th minute of that match here tonight. Well, if you're a fan of attacking football, Graham, this is your night. You're going to have a wonderful week of watching all the highlights on the USL page here during the week. There we see Dixon on the far side, Graham, just walking off.
Penn FC just happy to maintain possession to close this one out. Push to the far side. And there's the final whistle to close out the 90 minutes at TD Place tonight. A tough blow for Fury FC as Penn FC claim a crucial 3 points to keep what coming into tonight could have been a dismal hopes at the playoffs, but have put themselves at least back in the conversation. And for Ottawa Fury FC, some head scratching to do after this one. Disappointing 2-0 defeat, and now lots to be played for heading into a very difficult 5-game road trip that will see them on the road, not returning to TD Place until the 30th of September. So work to be done, and it's going to have to come away from home.
I think an opportunity missed when we looked a couple of weeks ago at the schedule that was coming up. We probably looked at Penn FC as being one of those that you could maybe at home look as a home banker for 3 points. That hasn't happened that way here tonight. And now you've got to go on the road and pick up some points, which is always very, very tough for the Ottawa Fury. The road form just hasn't been as good as it needs to be. Much similar to Penn FC, they pick up a huge road win here tonight, though. And fair play to them. They came in, they played a decent road game. They got the goal, they snatched the lead, and the second half was more or less about defending and hitting on the counter-attack. Second goal came that way, and they walked down with 3 points tonight.
2-0 the final from TD Place. Penn FC winners over Ottawa Fury FC. We'll be back to wrap things up with our man of the match, stats and more. This is Ottawa Fury FC Soccer.
Gabriel Pizza, proud supporter of local sports. Gabriel Pizza, home of the bigger, better pizza. 310-7777 or GabrielPizza.com.
Did you know the Brick is 100% proudly Canadian? We employ over 5,000 Canadians, and nobody knows more about furnishing Canadian homes at the guaranteed lowest price than us. Saving you more. It's not just a slogan. Saving you more is our obsession.
What do you live for? Is it for your crew? For overcoming obstacles? Live for what you want. So what do you live for?
Welcome back inside TD Place. Penn FC 2-0 winners over the home side Ottawa Fury FC. And despite the loss, though, you still see the players heading over to thank the supporters for coming out. It was a gorgeous night here at TD Place scored, but really on the cusp of halftime in the first half, Paulo Jr., the former Fury FC striker, stealing the show there. Aaron Dennis in the 80th minute makes it 2-0, and that was all the visitors needed here on the night to pick up a crucial 3 points for Penn FC and certainly hand Ottawa a tough blow in their hopes as they run to the playoffs. And we'll get into the standings if you join us in our Fury FC Facebook Live post-match show after this. We'll have a look at standings, highlights, stats. We'll hear from Fury FC head coach Nikola Popovic and more. Have a look at the heat map, see where the game was played throughout the course of tonight. But let's just focus on tonight and your thoughts on the overall 90-minute performance we saw, focusing on Ottawa.
I think for about 25 minutes of the first half and 30 minutes of the second half, it was pretty much Fury well in control. Penn FC came into it a little bit more late in the first half, got the goal, terrific shot. Bad defensive coverage, terrific shot. Crépeau, I don't think had much of a chance to it. Second half again, wonderful start, taking the game to Penn FC. We knew that was going to happen. We knew what the game plan was going to be. You get out there, you drop deep, you hit in the counter-attack. I mean, we see it time and time again when teams snatch a goal on the road here in their own backyard. But that second goal was wonderful, and it really broke the back of the Ottawa Fury. Disappointing. I thought it was a win they probably could have picked up, and it's a big body blow to them in the playoff hopes.
And it was a fantastic finish from Aaron Dennis, much like it was from Paulo Jr. But let's be honest, both of those goals were defensive mistakes that Penn was able to counter on. Let's have a look at the man of the match tonight for Ottawa Fury FC. And even though he couldn't find the back of the net for Ottawa, he gave them the best hope. And not just what he did offensively, but coming into the midfield, the opportunities that this guy created, he gave it all throughout the course of 90 minutes.
The big lad covered all sorts of space, Graham. He was out wide, he was down the middle, he came deep when he had to. I thought he was terrific tonight leading that line, and it's tough sometimes when you're playing down the middle of a wide three up front, and I thought he did a terrific job tonight. One or two chances, may have fell to him, just couldn't put them away. Man of the match certainly, but unfortunately for the Ottawa Fury, it's 3 points. I think that you haven't thrown away, but you just had a really good chance to grab them by the scruff of the neck, and you didn't do it. Fair play to Penn FC. They've obviously come up here with the plan, and that's exactly what's happened. There we see some of the highlights.
That's
as well.
as perfect of a road game as as
really
probably
was.
Raul Voss could ask for
really
his
was,
team. Just in talking about DeSantos, Tony Taylor, Kevin Oliveira, the three leading scorers on this team, 4 goals apiece. Adonijah Reid with 3. Those are 4 guys that Ottawa's going to have to lean on this upcoming 5-game road trip, because offense is going to be the key, because really 7 games left, where you are in the table, a draw does you nothing.
Really
it's 3 point. It should be. And look, let's be honest. Every game you say, hey, we're going for the win. But, ebbs and flows of the game, you tactically change things around. You say, look, we'll take the point. No, every night it has to be, we're going for 3 points or bust. That has to be the game plan.
And as much as it's disappointing right now and it looks bleak and it looks lost, if you pick up the 6 points against Toronto FC, which they're the bottom team in the league for a reason, they're just not playing very well. But it's all about what you do on the night in the 90 minutes. And if they are able to pick up those 6 points, bang, you're right back into the mix once again.
So we'll talk about this more in the Facebook Live post-match show, but you got 5 games coming up on the road. You got 2 against TFC2, 1 against Richmond Kickers. So you've got teams that are in the bottom 2-3 of the Eastern Conference standings. Then you've got New York Red Bulls 2, and of course you've got Louisville, who, well, we saw what they did to Richmond tonight. So
it wasn't pretty.
And we saw what New York Red Bulls did with Charleston. So both team with offensive firepower. So 3 games where you feel, hey, look, we can claim all 3 points. You could get 9 there. Can you silence the offense of the likes of New York and Richmond and try and come home for those last 2 games against Charleston and then Bethlehem to close things out with a positive run into the postseason?
It's a really big ask to get any points the way Louisville's playing right now. I mean, and even New York Red Bulls, I mean, they're more than happy to win 5-4, 6-5. We don't care. You score 3, we'll score 4. You score 5, we'll score 6. I mean, that's the type of mentality that, as a fan, if you're a fan of the defensive side of the game, you're like, well, wait a second. But if you're a fan of goals, my goodness, you can't ask any better than watching a New York Red Bulls 2 game here in 2018.
Gord, always a pleasure. We will be back. Our next broadcast won't come your way until the 30th of September, as this 5-game road trip now takes over for Ottawa Fury FC. Again, on the road, they've got 2 against Toronto FC, 2, Richmond Kickers, New York, Louisville, before returning home to take on Charleston and Bethlehem. That does it for tonight's broadcast. The final score here from TD Place, Ottawa Fury FC 0, Penn FC 2. For Gordon Smith, Tyler McDonald, Mike Sutherland, and our entire crew, I'm Graham Ivory. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. This has been Ottawa Fury FC Soccer.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League may not be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the express written consent of the United Soccer League.